everyone. Welcome back to another edition of our OA Summer Panel. So excited and so glad to have all of y'all with us. As a quick reminder, an OA is an orientation advisor, which are basically just current students here at UT. We're here to support your transition to UT by being a friend and a mentor to you all, while also engaging with you all throughout the summer. As you see, we're here for our summer panel. Today, we're here to chat about being lost in Austin / life in Austin. We know a lot of our students are not from Austin or even not even from the state of Texas. So this panel is to inform you all on all things Austin and what to expect when you get here on campus in the fall. We'll share a bit about our stories, but also some advice for what we think might help you. We have a few questions that we'll answer, but feel free to throw any other questions in the comments. So yeah, with all of that being said, we will start with some OA introductions and I will go first. As I said, my name is Shelby. I am a third-year sociology major on the pre-law track with a minor in government. I'm from Houston, Texas, and my pronouns are she, her. And I'll pass it over to James.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Yan. I'm a fourth-year chemical engineering major on the pre-med track from Austin, Texas, and my pronouns are he, him. And I'll pass it on to Johnny.
Hey y'all, I'm Johnny. I'm a second-year unspecified business major with a minor in economics. My pronouns are he, him. I'm from Sugar Land, Texas, right outside of Houston, and I'm super excited to share some information with y'all. And I will pass it on to David.
Yeah, hey y'all, I'm Javid. I'm a second-year architectural engineering major and a business minor. I'm from Keller, Texas, and my pronouns are he, him. I'll pass it on to Angela.
Hello, my name is Angela. I'm a second-year BFA Dance and Social Work double major. I'm from Austin, Texas, and my pronouns are she, hers, and I'll pass it to Lexi.
Hey y'all, super excited to be here. My name is Lexi. I am a second-year biochemistry major. I am from San Angelo, Texas, and my pronouns are she, her, and I will pass it back over to Shelby.
Thanks, Lexi, and thank all y'all for those wonderful introductions. As I said, this is just a Q&A summer panel, so I'm going to be asking some questions, and then some of our OAs are going to be answering those. So we'll go ahead and start off with our first question, which our friends Johnny and Javid will answer. And that question is, where are people going to be when they're around campus? And I'll go ahead and pass that over to Johnny to answer.
All right, so most times, if people aren't actually on campus, they're going to be in West Campus, which is right west of campus, right across Guadalupe Street, which is called the Drag. So people are going to either be in West Campus and their apartments, of which there are a lot of. If you're looking for off-campus living, West Campus is pretty much the place to go, just because there's so many different options, and it's actually quite safe just because there's a really big student population. Only problem is it's a little bit pricey just because that is a spot everyone wants to be. Otherwise, there's the Drag, which is that portion of Guadalupe Street that is right next to campus. That's a really hot spot for students for meeting and eating. There's lots of food trucks, a lot of Austin original food spots too that you might have heard of in your own hometown. Again, lots of students, relatively safe, but that's where really most everyone's going to be. And I'll pass it on to Javid.
Yeah, no, like Johnny said, definitely West Campus and that Guad area, that's where everyone is pretty much. This past year, there weren't too many people, but I'm expecting next year. I'm looking forward to seeing a whole bunch of people. It's gonna be very crowded. But other than that, one place I've noticed a lot of people is by the tower, the whole area from the tower all the way to the fountain, that's including the six pack and the whole like lawn out there. People are always there either relaxing, studying, or just kind of walking around, just enjoying a nice day. Libraries are also very popular, especially PCL has lots of floors. So there's definitely a lot of things, you can study and just kind of chill there. Food trucks and the co-op building. Those are like the top two for me, I would say. Yeah, I'll pass it back to Shelby.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny and David, for those wonderful answers. I definitely agree. West Campus, I know I'm always there. Wonderful apartments, nice places to study, nice places to chill. Also, the Guad has great food places. So those are some great places that you guys can hang out at when you get here in the fall. And we'll go ahead and move on to our second question, which our friends James and Javid will answer. Javid again with the answers, okay? The question is, if I want to get off of campus, what are some good places to study? And I'll pass that over to James.
Yeah, thanks, Shelby. So around the West Campus area, some good places to study are Cafe Medici, which is right on Guad, Starbucks and Lucky Lab, which are on 24th Street. Those are some great options in nearby campus. If you want to go a little bit farther away, Austin Central Library is a great place to study. It's a relatively new place. It opened in 2017, and there are 6 floors, and there's like a relatively like open central area with stairs crisscrossing it. So it's very beautiful. I've been there a few times and I've loved it. That place is accessible by bus, by driving, or if you would like, there's actually a trail that heads down there from close to West Campus if you want to bike. Mozart's Coffee is also a great place to study. It's next to Town Lake on the western part of the Tarrytown neighborhood.
Yeah, no, like West Campus is an amazing spot, especially the apartment lounges. All the apartments in West Campus are like super nice, tall buildings, and all their lounges are decked out. It's just a nice vibe. I know that's where I am, always in my apartment, just studying. And it's very nice, very peaceful, and very quiet. But other than that, I love studying in parks. So Zilker and Butler are two amazing parks right next to Austin. So if you have a car, or I guess you could use the metro as well. So it's lots of easy access. So going to those parks is amazing. Coffee shops, like James was talking about, there's Starbucks, there's Lucky Lab, and there's so many other coffee shops out there right next to Austin, and the new Austin Public Library that just opened up. Yeah, I'll pass it back to Shelby.
Yeah, thanks for those answers, James and Javid. I definitely agree with the coffee shops. I know I'm always going to local Austin coffee shops to study. They're very chill, very pretty, very nice. And we'll move on to question 3, which is in between studying, what is there to do in downtown Austin? And Lexi and myself are going to be answering that question. So I'll go ahead and pass over to Lexi.
Yeah, so while you're in Austin, there's obviously going to be so many different food places to go to. There's lots of options that are super close to campus. There's the Triangle that houses about 5 or 6 different really great dining options. There's tons of places on the drag and right around MLK, right off campus. But also going farther south, there's tons of food truck parks that are super great to eat at. And then also there are places like Zilker and Peace Park. They're great parks to hang out. You've probably seen people talk about Zilker all the time because it's one of the most popular spots in Austin. And then there's also lots of paddleboarding and kayaking opportunities on like Lake Travis or Lady Bird Lake. Great places to go and get outdoors so that way you're not cooped up in your dorm the whole time. And I will pass it over to Shelby.
Yeah, thanks, Lexi. Kind of piggybacking off of what Lexi was saying, Zilker Park, Peace Park, a lot of like Lady Bird Lake, there's a great places to go to, especially if you just like to look at a view. Very nice views of downtown and the skyline. And there's also some parks and trails that you can go to. So if you really like hiking, you really like walking up trails or even biking trails, those are great places to go to. Biking around the Capitol, you can rent bikes and bike around the Capitol. I think that's a very nice thing to do. Also, scootering is like a really big thing here in Austin, and it's only like 30 cents per minute. So like definitely get on the scooter, ride around there. I think you used to could ride them around campus, but I think they now have like disabled them. But that's okay because you can still ride them around Austin, which is a great thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that question. I think we have some great answers, and then we'll go ahead and move over to question 4, which James is going to answer, and also myself again. And the question is going to be, how can we get around Austin as students at UT? And I'll go ahead and pass it over to James to answer that.
Yeah, so with your student ID, all students could actually just swipe onto all the buses for free. So that could be very convenient. You could find bus routes on Google Maps. You could also go download the Cap Metro app or go on the Cap Metro website to find bus routes. Some nearby areas around the campus or West Campus area, you can actually access by bike. So that's really great. It's faster than walking. But for some more far away places, it is definitely more convenient to go by car. If you don't have a car, that's perfectly okay. Carpooling is popular. And also, whenever orgs host events that are not on campus, they're always going to have carpooling available. So yeah, I'll be passing it back to Shelby.
Thanks, James. Yeah, kind of agree with everything he was saying. The Metro bus is a great way to get around Austin in general. As a freshman, I know I used it like all the time, no matter where I was going, even if I was going to class. I would use the Metro bus. So I think that's a great form of transportation. Also scooters, but like I said, I think they may have disabled them on campus, but that's okay because walking is also still an option. Renting bikes is also a great option to go to. Uber, and then there's going to be free Lyft credits at night. So UT normally gives like $100 worth of Lyft credits probably like every month, and that way you can like Lyft around Austin. So that's pretty cool. All right, yeah, so that's it for that question. And we'll go ahead and move over to question 5, which my friends Lexi and Angela are going to answer. And that question is, I heard the food is really good in Austin. Do you have any suggestions? And I'm going to pass it over to Lexi to answer that.
Yeah, so there are tons of options around campus, like we've talked about quite a bit, but within the few blocks that make up West Campus, there are 3 or 4 different food truck parks, which is kind of crazy, but they all offer something super different. And there's even one right behind the co-op. So if you feel like not walking too far, you can definitely go to those. There are also lots of really great places if you do have a car or a way to get around Austin, in South Austin and North Austin both. But one of my favorite places to eat is called the Omelet Tree. Best breakfast place you'll ever get. And it's so cheap that you can't even be upset about going there. And I'll pass it on to Angela.
Yes, thank you. Like Lexi was mentioning a little bit earlier, there are a lot of places around campus that you can always eat at, on Glad and close to Glad, like Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, Cane's, pizzerias, all of the good fast food restaurants. There's also a restaurant that I am in love with. It's called Kava Bob's. I talk about it all the time. I think personally it's better than Chipotle, but of course you'll have to go and try that out to see for yourself. And then you can just like message me and let me know your opinion on Kava Bob's. But also there's some restaurants that are native to Austin and local to Austin. So a couple examples is Kirby Lane Cafe, has delicious breakfast and pancakes. Torchy's Tacos, which started in Austin but moved around Texas, I believe. And then Amy's Ice Cream, which has really good ice cream. Me and my sister are obsessed with it. And also Whole Foods originated in Austin, which is also pretty cool. But I'll pass it back to Shelby.
Yes, thanks for those great answers, Lexi and Angela. I also had to hop on the Cabo Bob's train after trying it, and I no longer really eat at Chipotle that much. So I definitely recommend to try Cabo Bob's when you get to Austin. Okay, we'll go over and move over to our very last question. I know, so sad we don't want it to end, but my friends Angela and Johnny are going to answer this question, and that's going to be, what are some things that are home to Austin? And I'll pass it over to Angela to answer this.
Yes, thank you. So again, just what I mentioned, those restaurants that I previously listed. Some couple other things that are home to Austin are some bats, which is pretty cool. It's the largest urban bat colony in North America, and that can be seen at Congress Avenue Bridge, which is downtown. And also something that Austin has, there's like a place you can swim called Barton Springs, and there's a salamander called the Barton Springs salamander, which lives in Barton Springs, which is also endangered. So that's pretty cool that Austin has. And I'll pass it to Johnny now.
All right, so one of the newest additions to Austin is our very own soccer team called Austin FC. There was just a stadium that was built called Q2 Stadium, and we actually just played our first game in April of 2021. So brand new, lots of new fans, and this is really the biggest sports team in Austin since Longhorn football. Y'all are going to be seeing a lot more neon green now, considering that's their color. So that is actually really exciting for really everybody. Soccer fans, Austinites, all the above. I know I'm going to have to go to a game at some point. But just to wrap us up, if you have any questions or are wondering a little bit how to get some more information about everything off campus, UT actually has a website, offcampus.utexas.edu. There's all sorts of guides, tips, resources for living off campus. There's like roommate finders. You can find subleases there. All really great resources for you. And again, campus.utexas.edu. Check it out. It's actually really useful. But I'll pass it back to Shelby to end us off.
Yes, thank you all for those wonderful answers. I also visited the Congress Avenue Bridge to see the bats when I very first got to Austin. So that's really a great attraction really to visit. But just a big thanks to our OAs for answering all those questions, and a big thanks to all of you for joining us for the Life in Austin Summer Panel. We can't wait to see you all on the 40 acres in the fall, and that's all we have for you today, but hook 'em!